Hey, and welcome to Kallerhult Creations. Today I'm going to attempt my very first Meet the Artist tag, drawing, illustration. I thought it would be fun to have, my little face here on the side and the screen recording on another side of the screen. Yes, I'm gonna combine this with a Q&A. I'll answer some of your questions and then I'll talk a bit more about the illustration from the Meet the Artist. Yes. So, first question, how long have you been drawing and when did you start taking your art seriously? Basically, I've drawn forever. It was my favorite pastime as a child and something that was heavily encouraged by my family when I was growing up. My grandmother was an artist and some of my fondest memories of her and from my childhood was painting alongside of her. So my only in-person art class that I've ever taken, except the mandatory art classes in middle school and the early years of high school, was when I tagged along with my nan to one of her weekly watercolor classes. Art has always been a part of my life and a natural hobby. It wasn't something I even, questioned or actively sought out or chose, because it was like my default thing. Either I would go to the woods after school, in my spare time, I would go to the woods and play, I would read a book, or I would draw. That's basically what I did growing up. So when my friends were playing video games, I sat next to them with a paper and some crayons and I drew the characters in the game. When I got home from school, I would take the neighbor's dog out for a walk, or I would sit at my desk and draw. It was back in 2018 that I actually started making money from art. I couldn't sleep one night and I decided to post my work in progress pictures on a Staffordshire Bull Terrier forum that I was active on. I was drawing one of the members' dogs. So like once an hour I posted a picture of how the portrait had progressed. And when people came online and saw my drawing, they were like, wow, you're really talented, how much would you charge for a commission? And I was like, money, I don't know. That's still my least favorite part of anything that has to do with art and making money from art, is to actually ask for money or value myself. Yeah, so actually the members of the forum, they started talking amongst each other and were like, okay, Lovisa, so how long time did it take? What's your material cost? Whatever, blah, 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 blah. And they come up with a price and I charge a bit under that. And for the first money I earned doing a commission, I went and bought envelopes and backing cards and like plastic sleeves and stamps so I could send off my orders, which was really nice. I mean, I was a poor student, I didn't have much money, so yeah, I had to be paid in advance so I could actually send the portrait. So yeah, I did that as a side hustle during my years at uni and when I worked full-time as a dog trainer as well. In 2014, I officially added it to my business and launched Kallerhult Creations. The next question is, what is your ultimate art goal? That's a huge question. Skill-wise, I want to be able to create whatever I feel like without being limited by my skill level or lack thereof. So if I want to make an animation to spruce up my YouTube videos, or if I want to make an infographic telling people it's harmful to feed bread to ducks, shouldn't do that. So if I want to make an infographic about that, I want to do that. All of the ideas, I just want them to bloop, become products without any hurdles to jump over. On the other side, I absolutely love learning, and I pretty much think learning new stuff is the point of life, is the meaning of the universe. So I will never be fully trained, of course, but the more you learn, the easier it becomes to learn new things and the faster you will learn. Oh, I am so full of wisdom. I didn't write that in my script. I just came up with that. So feel free to quote me for my brilliancy. Yes, I am awesome. Okay, back to my script. Feeding ducks. In terms of reach and engagement, I'd like my art to speak to people, make them happy, evoke feelings. I mean, I both want to do stuff that's like informative and fun, and I want people to like my stuff, okay? That wasn't in my script, that was me talking. Some means of accomplishing this is to get my work published in different forms. As I mentioned previously, I want to illustrate books. That would be awesome. I also want to combine my interest for science and art. So yeah, I think that could be a topic for a video all by itself. An important thing, I also want to keep my passion for art, and that is one thing that I almost destroyed last time I worked full-time with art. I didn't do any art for myself really. I didn't take time to develop and test new things. I was basically only working on commissions, and don't get me wrong, I enjoyed making commissions. It feels so wrong to complain about it, but it becomes a chore, and then it's not so fun, and then it kinda stains the whole experience of doing art. So I enjoyed the majority of all the commissions I've done during the years, but it was overwhelming and it sucked out the joy of my creative process. So I guess one of my goals are to find a sustainable balance between boosting my creativity and keeping most of it profitable. I want to get back into the art business, that's what I'm trying to say. So I have to have money in the back of my head that things should be profitable. Not everything, but I should make some money. Oh, I have another one thing here I've written down that's huge. That's very hard to talk about. I want to feel comfortable promoting myself and my art, and to believe that people will actually have an interest in what I'm creating. As I mentioned before, I would really like to start a Patreon where I can share more creative videos and eventually make a Happy Mail tier and send out monthly goodies. But it's very scary because I have this little voice in my head who's saying like,
are you really interesting enough? Or do you really think people want to buy your art? Like, not just a rendition of a photo they have chosen? Do you have any original ideas? And how can you create a cohesive body of work when you don't even know like what subject matter or what style you want to focus on?
I mean, I've accounted some of this because I tried to make products previously and people were like, oh yeah, I love them. And then I created products, put them out for sale, and people were like, yeah, I want that one, but with my dog. It's like, okay. So yeah, it's a bit, I don't know. In Sweden, we refer to something called jantelagen, or the law of Jante. It is basically a sociological term to represent a social attitude of disapproval towards individuality or personal success. Basically, you are not to think that you're anything special, that you know more than others, that you can't teach anyone else anything. It's not something that people go and say to each other, but it's like in people's subconscious. So it's something that me and me and many people with me are struggling with this and trying to overcome it. And it's not just Sweden, of course, other people, other societies, other cultures, they have this as well, but it's like very hard ingrained in us. So one prime example of that is that whenever I post a YouTube video, I don't really promote it on my personal my personal Facebook page. I have a lot of acquaintances there. Not all of them are necessarily close friends. It's so stupid because, I mean, the people I should be concerned about what they think about me, it's not them. So I shouldn't feel awkward posting there. Anyway, I much rather post on like my Kallerhult Creations Instagram page, where there are either people I don't know at all or people I've come to know through my creative process, my creative content. So they know me as a creative person. They know what they're getting. Or on my personal Instagram page where it's only family and friends, or like close friends. I need to put myself out there. What's the worst that can happen? People say like, oh, you have an ugly shirt. Okay, yeah. Or you suck at doing art. Yeah, nothing bad can really happen, but I have a hard time dealing with any kind of criticism because it takes me so long to actually post something, to feel okay with doing it, putting myself out there. And if someone then comes and criticizes that, I take it to heart, even though I might feel it's not applicable for me. It's not really a valid comment. I please be kind to me, okay? Okay, I went over on a tangent. I have talked for a million miles. We'll move on to the next question. Favorite... I'm sorry, I don't feel like I really answer. What's my ultimate art goal? I want to enjoy my art. I want to make money doing art. I want others to enjoy my art. I want art, yay. Okay, yeah, okay, that was my answer. Art, I want to do more art. Now, next question. Favorite thing to listen to while creating? I used to watch movies and binge watch TV shows while drawing, and it's quite fun because when I see a portrait, a commission I made, I can be like, oh, so when I was drawing that ear, they solved the murder. So, yeah, people's dogs' ears are like, you're the murderer, and you are, yeah, no, you understand, but I get these visual connections. Nowadays, I either watch YouTube, primarily studio vlogs, or listen to audiobooks. So my current favorite creators on YouTube and also Patreon that I've been binge watching are By Bun, Iris Impressions Art, Think Outside of the Box, and Apple Cheeks. I will leave those links in the description. As for audiobooks, I've been listening to a bunch. I think I'm gonna make a separate video talking about books and audiobooks. If I want to listen to music, I either go for like very chill music with no lyrics. Usually when I like journaling, I want to have just, ambient music. Or like movie soundtracks, like compilation from Ghibli movies. Or I go full-blown, loud music, loud volume, sing-along with my favorite bands, which are Flogging Molly, Dropkick Murphys, Dead Kennedy, other Celtic punk band category, and Cats and Yammer. They are really good. Next question. Which Harry Potter book is your favorite and why? That would be Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I think the reason for that is that we get a deeper view into Harry's origin, so to speak, like his parents, and the Marauders. I especially love Lupin and his take on Defense Against the Dark Arts. I love the tension that's building up around Sirius Black and the plot twist that results in Harry gaining a parental figure. I also love that they started studying care of magical creatures and that we as readers get to tag along and learn more about the magical creatures. It feels as though the whole universe expands more in this book. Also, I think one of the reasons I like this book is that it isn't really Voldemort, he must not be named, who is the main protagonist in this story. Because he's like all over the other stories, and not as much in this one. Next question is, what is your favorite fairy tale? My consumption of fairy tales have been mostly dictated by Disney, to be honest. I kind of feel as though I have to dive back into reading the OG stories, at least other version than Disney's interpretation. One I remember reading as a kid was The Six Swans. It was six brothers who were six brothers. I hold up 4 fingers. 6 brothers who were transformed into swans, and their sister had to make shirts for them made with nettles to break the curse. I remember that very vividly from when I was a kid. And then, of course, if we go into like more Swedish stories, I guess they will be categorized as fairy tales as well. We have everything from Elsa Beskow. I loved her books and illustrations when I was a kid. And among gnomes and trolls, especially the section that's illustrated by Jon Bauer. And then I posted on Instagram a picture of my dog and said, if you have any questions for my dog, you can ask them as well. So someone asked, not someone, I know, Noobsy Draws, Hey friend. She asked, what is your favorite snack, dear Fendi? And I think she would answer something meaty and easily chewed, because there's not many things that she thinks is worth putting in effort for to eat. So if I give her like a bone, she likes bones because then she can go around with them in her mouth going like this, and showing our other dog that she has a very pretty bone and he should be very jealous of her. Okay, so if we go over to the illustration I made, overall the illustration is quite busy and I'm not necessarily the focal point of the illustration, but I'm quite pleased with the outcome regardless of its flaws. Going back to my confidence in art, okay. I put myself up in the corner surrounded by plants because I love my green plants. I don't have a shirt looking like that, but I would really like one because I love striped shirts and I love yellow. I think I have a striped shirt underneath. Almost all of my clothes are either striped with dots or Harry Potter related. Yeah. And also I love the color yellow. Yellow and teal are my favorite colors, and I I did small hearts with those colors in the illustration, but they vanished some point in the rendition of this illustration. Then we have a little color blob with some facts or introductory points of information about me. I live in a house with my partner and my 2 kids who turn 8 and 5 this summer, and 2 dogs, which is Fendi, the Australian Shepherd. She is 12 and a half years old, and then we have the Border Collie Link, who turns 7. Yes, my kid is 8, my dog is 7. He turns 7 years old very soon. Next up we have my likes and dislikes. I obviously love animals. I love plants, as I've already mentioned, and I'm forever fascinated by science. On my TBR pile here we have a book about insects. We have a book about bumblebees and another book about insects, which I'm gonna read any day now. I drink my coffee with a lot of milk, and I might consume a bit too much chocolate for what's actually good for you. I love having fun socks, and I get much enjoyment from pretty nail polish. I did some experimentation with my nail polish. As for socks, I am currently wearing Expecto Patronum socks. That was a sight I think you will have nightmares about. Fun socks and pretty nail polish is such an easy way to spruce up your day, so I really like that. I love reading and disappearing into another world, and the wizarding world is definitely linked to my very core. I love that universe. Things I do not like, however, are bigotry in any shape, way, or form. And I see the controversy here because of my love for the Harry Potter universe, and that's a whole new ordeal, yeah, so we're not gonna go into that too deep now, even though it's quite a hot potato. Yeah. Moving on, I have a hard time dealing with loud noises, and I can easily feel suffocated when I'm in a big crowd or a big group of people. My introvert soul wants peace and quiet. Living in Sweden, we get all seasons, and sometimes the full extent of them. In my opinion, snow slush and heat waves can go crawl under a rock. I like crispy, snowy winter days, but the in-between weather, when it's like snowing and raining at once, and the snow that's on the ground is turning into slush, it's awful. I want to stay inside. Don't want to go out in that weather. Also, those insane heat waves when it's like over 30 degrees, I seriously cannot grasp how people can live in that kind of climate. I couldn't do it. It's not for me. Then we have a little insert of my happy place, which is in the woods with my family, and lastly the content of my bag. I'm not really going anywhere these days, so it's like a mixture of what you can most likely find in my bag or in my coat pockets. So scrunched up receipts, some candy wrappers, lip balm, dog treats, poop bags. That's like a stable. And then we add on my phone, card holder. If I, like when I sit in the car, wait for my kid when he's training karate, I usually have my iPad and Apple Pencil as well. Perhaps I have a pencil pouch with pens and pencils that I use in my planner or my sketchbook. And there we go, everything covered. I hope you liked this video and that you'll consider giving it a thumbs up. Perhaps subscribe if you haven't already. I aim to post art-related videos weekly, and I would love to have you around. Join the gang. Join the dark side. We have cookies. So if you have any questions, leave them in a comment down below, and I'll do my best to get to them as soon as possible. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely day. Hej då!